Hello and welcome to another episode of My Southern Exposure, season number 3, episode number 8, and it just so happens to coincide with today being March 8th, 2021. I want to welcome everybody at home and also toss it over to Goldilocks down there in the corner with her brand new beautiful hair.
That's my new name now, Goldilocks. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another week of My Southern Exposure. And this week, you might really get a view of some things. Let me behave myself. Well, we have a juicy show for you guys today, and some really special guests with us that they're gonna be sharing their story about something that recently happened to them. Can't wait to hear about it. And I'm a little disturbed, a lot disturbed, because anytime I hear stuff like that, it just gets to me. So I'm looking forward to hearing their story, and of course Joseph and I are going to give our opinions on it, and we have other juicy things. Oh my God, the royal family. I know you all had to see the interview with Meghan and Harry. Oh my God. Talk about spilling the dirt or dishing the tea. I mean, my goodness. And let me tell you, the media over in England, they are losing their freaking minds. I have some friends over across the pond, and oh my God, all day, it's been all over the media there. So yeah, we'll be talking about that and so many other juicy things. Stimulus check, hey. So I'm gonna toss it back over to Joseph and we'll get the show started.
Let's get this party started. The young boys can unmute their microphones. I want to give them an official introduction. Joshua and Lee from Illinois.
Get hot. Let me see. Go ahead, Joseph. Sorry.
It's a good thing that they're in Illinois because they're out of your reach.
I know.
All right, all joking aside, we do have a serious topic to discuss about some anti-LGBTQ+A harassment that both of these individuals went through. I don't want to focus on the name of the place that they work for or where they went to per se, unless they want to share that. I do want to focus on the bits and pieces. All I know is I won't be having any Colonel Sanders anytime soon, that's for sure. And it won't be dashing to any door. But anyways, I want to get the story straight from the boys' mouths. Joshua and Lee, welcome to the show. I hope everything's good in Illinois.
Thank you for having us.
How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Yeah, doing well.
How's the weather there?
It's actually pretty sunny out today.
Yeah, it's changed up from being cold to about 67, I think.
Yeah.
So are you all near Chicago, or like where in Illinois are you?
We're in the capital of Illinois, Springfield.
Oh, okay. Now
So
it's
hours south of Chicago.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So
Which is ironic because I just created a gay Illinois page on social media, and you will probably find it very easily. And it shows a scenery of the state of Illinois and also the capital of the state. So, but let's focus on your story. Boys, you guys got the microphone. Start from the beginning, because the beginning is a very good place to start, and share your story, because if it happened to you, it's probably happened to others as well.
Yeah, of course.
Go for it.
Oh, I love doggy woggies.
Well, Lee works for DoorDash, and it started off, I started great. You know, I normally come with him because, you know, for safety precautions, you know, because sometimes they have him go to places where it's kind of, you know, shady, you know, so I told him like I'd
Yeah.
be alone. Well, I believe we had done about 4 deliveries that night before we had ended up getting the notification to go to KFC. We got the notification, and we go there, we pull up to the intercom and we say, hey, Lee goes, I work for DoorDash. I'm here to pick up an order for this customer. And we pulled forward. You can go ahead and tell them.
I think we pulled forward, we went to the window, and ultimately we were there just to pick up an order, and it's pretty simple something to do. It's not a hard task at all. But when we went there and we were approached by the first worker, they were, semi-professional, if you will, but ultimately what it wound up being is they didn't have the food that the customer had ordered. So it created a friction point for them because they didn't have what we needed, and we didn't know, that they didn't have that. So when they stated that, we tried to, work with them, and, some of the employees, they came out periodically each time, after they stated they didn't have the order, they kind of closed the window, and we kind of just sat there, and I looked at Josh and I was like, I don't know what that means, but
I told him, I said, you need to contact the customer.
Yeah.
I said, you need to call the customer because he's already spent his money here.
Right.
And they don't have enough food to complete his order.
Right. So then a lady comes out, and she comes out and asks us if there's a problem, and obviously we just stated to her that we're here to pick up a DoorDash. The lady before you told us you didn't have the order. And she said, yeah, we're not going to do the order. You got to cancel it. And you got to take care of it. And she closed the window. So at that point I had called the customer, like Joshua said. And then now we didn't know then that was the manager, but the manager had come to the window. And I was on the phone, I had the phone just up to my ear like this while I was driving. Well, I was parked, sorry. And, she opened up the window, and I mouthed her, and I went just like this, exactly like this, one moment. And and that was met with so much aggression over such a simple gesture. It was crazy. And it ignited a fire in her, as if I was, making some kind of like war gesture. Like I wanted to go to war with her by putting my finger up and saying, "One moment, please." And she then repeated, and I don't know, profane language. Is profane language okay? Yeah. On the show? Okay, so she kind of turned to her staff.
You can cuss and say whatever you want. There is no restrictions if you haven't seen all of our cussing on the show so far.
Whenever he gave her that kind gesture, simple gesture that I'm sure, people do to the kids whenever they're on the phone, like, hold on 1 second.
Right.
Well, once he had done that, she was like, oh, hell no. I know this motherfucker did not put his hand up at me. And the girl in the back seat, not in the back seat, my brother's in the back seat, I'm sorry. The girl who was, at the window, not the manager, but the other girl started cussing as well. And she said something along the lines is, I don't give a fuck about the bitches in the back seat.
Oh yeah, it was verbatim. I don't give a fuck about the bitches in the back seat. I don't care about you guys. You guys got to get the fuck out of here.
That's when I started recording, because I was like, if I call corporate and tell them that their employee was cussing at me, most likely nothing will happen. I was like, so I did it on video. So this girl,
right.
And then, that's whenever.
So they had closed the window. They slammed the window. They told the manager, I told the staff, don't serve them, don't do anything. And I was on the phone with the customer as this whole thing is taking place.
He was hearing all.
And he told me, he said, I heard it. I heard everything that happened. I don't want to cause you any more of a headache. I'll just cancel the order. But if I can't, can you wait there so I can get some food? Because he did pay for a service. And I was like, yeah, no problem, So at that point, we had hung up. And a short interim had happened, not even maybe a 30-second, 45-second time period, to where, we had been recording. They came back to the window again, started cussing at us again, told us we have to leave. If we don't leave, they're going to call the police. Started calling us, assholes, bitches again. And then that's when, here comes Mr. Peyton Burke and interjects himself as
he's coming through the window.
Through the window, he's like, look, and you can see in the video, he looks right at me and he says, why you fucking queer? And at that moment, there was like a suppressive depression and aggression at the same time that came over both of us. You could feel it. It was almost like you got hit in the face, and then you got back up and got hit again. and it was like a continual like abusive thing that was happening. And Joshua is a firecracker. He is an intelligent individual, and he always has the correct response for interactions, and as do I. And both of us, were left just completely stunned.
I didn't know that, me recording from the point where she had called us bitches, and motherfuckers. I did not know at that point that he was even going to come out with those homophobic slurs.
It had no relevance.
It had no relevance. I mean, over chicken.
Yeah, he looked at me and he said to me, you look queer. You can get the fuck out of here. I don't care about a video. He told Josh, I don't care. I don't care about anything that's happening right now. All he cared about was simply, saying those things. And that was it. He didn't give a shit about anything else. And it was just horrible. And people, they're like, well, what happened before this? How was this enticed? First of all, nothing happened before. No. Nothing. And second of all, even if there was, a dialogue beforehand, nothing validates or warrants a response like that.
No.
Nothing. And it was horrible. It was horrible. I called the police and people are like, why would you call the police? Well, because they were threatening us. There was a gentleman in the window throwing up gang affiliation signs saying, we're going to come get you, faggots. And we're going to come get you.
We didn't even record that part because at that
we were on the phone with the police.
Yeah.
And I told her, and she said, sir, please go somewhere else because you're not safe. And I said, I know. Where would you like me to go? So we went over to Jimmy John's. And I mean, the whole time, the only person that said anything, there was a dialogue between some employees and, Joshua's brother. And honestly, it was like everybody was just picking on us. And we were the kids that were just getting bullied. And he's the only one in the back seat because we were lost for words. We were just so hurt that we didn't know what to say.
We didn't cuss at anybody, we didn't call anybody names or anything, and we were attacked. And my little brother, I'm sure if you've read some of the news articles that have state what him and I both have been through, he has reactive attachment disorder, which can cause, difficult, it makes him have a difficult time in, social situations. So he can act out of aggression or stuff like that. And basically that's what he did. He stuck up for us because he noticed we were kind of just taking it because we were so shocked. We didn't know, what to say or anything along those lines. But it was,
it was devastating, and it was very hurtful, and it was very, very wrong and uncalled for.
I mean, it was so point that even after, I had posted the video, I didn't want to post it right away. I looked at Lee and I said, what should I do? I said, should I post this? Because I honestly didn't think it would get the attention it deserved. I didn't think that it was going to get that attention. And he was like, I'm just letting you know. He's like, if you post it, Josh, he was like, you're going to have positive comments. And he goes, you're also going to have negative comments. Like, And on those comments, even after Peyton had been fired, he's commenting on my post saying, KFC doesn't sell wieners.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Just still going on homophobic slurs.
Yeah, he's completely out of control. He doesn't care.
And I mean, it had us so shooken up that the very next morning, I mean, that night we didn't get any sleep. We stayed up till about 3 o'clock in the morning. I was crying all throughout the night, off and on, on the phone with my mom, my family members, just trying to get, help, because I felt so horrible about myself from the way, that he had made us feel. It just made me feel bad about who I am. And I know, and I've worked so hard for where I'm at in life to not feel this way about myself. And I just find it very hurtful and just atrocious for someone to do, because it's just not okay. But like I said, we didn't get any sleep that night. The very next day, our neighbor, he was yelling, and we both jumped out of bed and we ran to the door thinking that it was somebody, coming to get us. I mean, we can't even go into a public place like Walmart without, for example, I went there probably about 2 days ago, and I was so scared to even make eye contact with anybody because there were so many, positive comments on there that I was just like, what if I see someone in public who didn't agree with this, hurt me, or,
Yeah, feeling very vulnerable. I can just imagine. Well, the thing too is it sounds to me like from the beginning, they already had scoped you two out in the sense of like both being gay, and they were waiting for any little thing to just lash out their hatred on you.
Yeah.
That's the impression I get. It's like, this gesture of like, hold on a minute, who fucking doesn't do that? I mean, we all have done that. If we're in the middle of a call, you just kind of raise your hand and say like, or you do like this and say, hold on 1 minute. She was just using that as a damn excuse to lash out her hatefulness upon you two. Let me ask you, did you contact corporate? And the other thing is that KFC a franchise, or is it part of the corporate? You know how they have the franchise ones and then the ones that are directly from corporate?
Yeah. Okay. So actually, nobody reached out to us. Through Facebook, I had a lady who used to work for that KFC, and she messaged me. She said, hey, here's the owner's number. I'm sure that they won't give it to you, but I will. And she gave it to us, and we called the owner. And, we basically laid it to him on how upset.
Yeah, it's a franchise. So he owns 3 different locations in the Springfield area.
Yeah.
We called corporate and made a complaint. They said, oh, we're so sorry this happened. This is unacceptable.
We'll reach back
we
out
called
to you.
DoorDash. I told DoorDash, I said, don't send anybody here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't good. This isn't safe. This isn't comfortable. This is horrible. Don't send anybody here anymore. They reached back out to me. They said, DoorDash reached back out to me, said, you could DoorDash. If you want to DoorDash and you just want to deny the KFC and don't go to the KFC, that's fine. And we're like, what? No, we were, just like shock and awe of everybody, how they conducted themselves. Yeah. And when Joshua got the number for the owner, he answered his call, right? But he was almost like it was more of a nuisance to him than anything. It wasn't an issue. It wasn't an issue to be raised any higher than like, damn it, I got to be up at 10:30 dealing with this shit.
Yeah. And another thing is before we even mentioned Peyton Burke, the one who was calling us those homophobic slurs, before we even mentioned his name,
he knew who it was.
He knew who he was. And he said, I'm guessing this is about Peyton. So in our heads, we were like, you're an owner. And if you've already heard, about this one employee and you run 3 different franchises, he should have been gone a long time ago. Mm-hmm. The first time you had to hear something about him, and we told him that. And he was kind of like, it was like almost like he didn't understand like the full extent of what had happened to us and how much it had like really, how it is still affecting us.
He tried to buy us out.
Yeah, he tried to buy us out. Like he was like, is there anything I can do for you? He's like, is there anything you guys
want? He didn't directly come in exchange for anything, for any type of money, but he basically insinuated that. Yeah. He alluded to it.
And we were like, we want you to clean your fucking house. Everybody needs to be gone out of there.
Yeah, that's what we said. We said everybody needs to be fired, and we're going to take whatever legal, route and actions that we can to make sure that this doesn't happen to anybody ever again. Because this is just horrible. It's absolutely it's just uncalled for, and it's just not tolerable.
And see, the big main thing for me here is so my life has not been easy, not by any means. It's been very hard since I can remember. And I suffer with major depression and anxiety, very, very bad. I have PTSD. I'm diagnosed with PTSD. There's just so much list going on and on, borderline personality disorder. But I know for a fact, with the places that I've been in my life, I know for a fact that if like something like that were to have happened to me like 2 years ago, I probably something horrible myself, So my thing is it's just like, you don't understand like the full extent of what happened. And like, what if that was someone else and they did go home and they did something stupid to themselves, horrible because of, one of your employees that you hired and didn't put through correct training, and it honestly just breaks my heart because like, I look back at it and I'm proud of myself from how far I've grown and the strength that I've gotten. It's taken lots of help. It's taken many, many years. But I'm finally, where I have always needed to be. And seeing stuff like this just makes me feel for people who I know are still in that mindset. So that's where it becomes really wrong with me, is because little do you know, we could have, he could have been having a really, really bad day, and and you know, off the cliff that he needed. And that's just not.
Well, Joshua and Lee also, what I wanted to try to say is, first of all, what happened to you is not acceptable, and social media, as well as just the media in general, will definitely be on this topic for a long time to come. And everything that you went through brought you to this point, and it helped you remain calm in that situation, because you could have not been calm, and you were. And each one of us are on our own life's journey, just like what Raji says. Every single show, we're all on our own journey, and we all figure out what's going to happen as it comes. And we just have to trust and believe that everything will be okay. But turning what happened to you into something positive is what defines you, both of you, and can help other people possibly go and deal with the exact same situation. None of the people's lives on this show right now, none of the four of us have had an easy life. Every single one of us have had a very difficult life based off of what you just said. And Raji and I have shared some of our stories as well over the last 3, seasons and whatnot. So, but in reference to the actual store, the guy has 3 stores. The one guy got fired, but there's another person, the lady of color. Is she still working there? The woman of color?
I heard from people on Facebook that she was fired, but there was still another employee too. There's 2 more employees that were suspended, and they were also partaking, and one of them was throwing up gang signs threatening to hurt us faggots. And then the other girl was she was a skinnier girl. She was the one who was calling me and my brother a bitch, and she was suspended as well. And I think that all of them should lose their jobs,
Yeah, well, but I mean, there's this, yeah, go ahead, Raji.
Well, no, what I was going to say is I think, first of all, it's great that you all got this story out there, because if we let, especially us in the LGBTQ community, if we allow this behavior to continue and not speak up against it, it's just going to continue. And so the fact that you all put the story out and you're talking about it, that alone is empowering for not only you two, but for the whole community as a whole. And, the thing is them losing their jobs. See, you hurt people when you hit their pockets. And I'm going to tell you, I think you said 2 people lost their jobs, right? So the 2 that lost their jobs, I mean, I'm sure they are certainly regretting their behavior now. And hopefully this will be a lesson to them going forward in the future, that they need to respect people no matter who they are. And the 2 that were suspended, it's hitting them in their pocket too, because obviously during the suspension, I'm sure they're not going to be able to make money. I mean, Of course, you 2 want their jobs taken. Who knows what went into the decision to suspend them as opposed to fire them, but they're still feeling it. I am sure they are. I wanted to ask you, I have a question. Another question. How is the local LGBTQ community supporting you 2? Have you heard from any of the leaders in the community? Do you all have like a pride center or some sort of LGBTQ center?
We have a Phoenix Center, and actually Lee and I both, we're going to be going in there later this week. Not necessarily, it's more like for therapy sessions, because we definitely need therapy to talk to some people about this, because I feel when I both haven't truly got to know the emotion it's caused us. And I feel like us both would be more comfortable speaking to like a therapist from there. But yes, we do. It's called the Phoenix Center here, and we've been looking into it, and we're definitely gonna, speak to them. So.
Because
I wish there would be a little more.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I wish there would be maybe like a little more support. I think, like, honestly, we have friends and we have family, but I think that ultimately it's just not, I don't know. It makes me very angry. It makes me very upset. And I look back and like, not even like 2 hours after it happened, we're very strong people. We're we have a lot of pride and we have a lot of kindness. We have big hearts. And we looked at that video and we were like, what the fuck even happened? You know? And then like people are like, I would have ripped them through the drive-thru, and I'm sitting there like, yeah, we would have done that. We would have done this, we would have done that. And it's like, but ultimately, like, we were just so like upset at the situation. And I wish that people would, I know there was some people that were talking about, not going there and like picketing and protesting, but I mean, ultimately we just want to let people know that that's not okay. Those words can hurt people. We're not trying to do anything but educate and like prevent something from that happening, because in your youth you're very susceptible to interactions like that. Even as adults, young adults, we're still susceptible, but it's very impressionable when you're young. And I only fear that like with those types of behavior being allowed and allowed and allowed, and like you said, if you do nothing and say stop, this is where it ends. It'll keep going and going and going. And then like, where does it seep into? I know it's already seeped into school systems. I know it's already seeped into recreational activities. Kids playing baseball or basketball, could be subject to exactly that type of behavior. Hell, all of us have seen that type of behavior doing those exact things,
Yeah. Because ultimately, really, when it comes down to it, the F word is like the N word. It really is. It's the same thing.
It's
and
a derogatory.
They were calling me faggot at 4 years old, and I'm a lady of a certain age. So this is nothing new. And this shit has to stop. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it does have to stop. It has to stop because, like I said, like you're a very strong-willed person. He's a very strong-willed person. We know we're capable, but you cannot meet aggression with aggression.
No.
You can't not work like this, because that's all you get. Aggression with aggression causes conflict, and it causes
something. There's more than one way to skin a horse, and you're right. Aggression with aggression isn't always the most effective. You all did the right thing. You dealt with the situation the best way you could in the moment, but then afterwards, now you're trying to rectify it. You see, and that's very good. Go ahead, Joseph. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm.
No, it's okay, because actually I want to follow up with what you were just saying, both of you, all three of you, because I think it's really important that you follow up on that police report that you started. You have to follow up on the police report. You have to file whatever paperwork is necessary so that they understand the severity of the situation, because you dealt with the situation, you de-escalated the situation, you got out of the situation looking as the good people because you are, and the other people look like the fool. Now it's a matter of enacting and doing things and making decisions that are going to help you be able to deal with the 5 stages of depression. There's 5 stages altogether, basically. So you're dealing with all of these: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. At some point in time, you're going to get to that acceptance part. It's going to take time, but you have to acknowledge the fact that that's going to happen, and you're going to probably have it cycle up and down, back and forth. And that's great that you have a place to go to over at the Phoenix Center, which is close to you, especially if you feel comfortable there. And I think that there's a lot of resources that are available to you as well as other people. And hopefully when we share this message with everybody else, they'll be able to get a little piece of the puzzle, and they'll be like, oh, that happened to me. Oh, that happened to me. And maybe it might click in their head. But I don't think that the person, I can't remember his name, the evil man, the one with the fat face that was leaning out the window, the white dude. I don't even want to say his name, to be honest with you, because he's basically he's below pond scum. I think I actually flushed things down my toilet that has more value than him. But personally speaking, I'm just saying. So, but I don't believe that person, Raji, is going to.
I tell you, when you want to really be cutthroat.
Hey, I'm just saying it how it is. But that poor excuse of a human being has been like this for a while. And the person who owns those 3 different locations knew that this was a problem. So that person does not care if they got fired or not. They're going to go to the next place. And actually, to be honest with you, Joshua and Lee, if that person is continuing to harass you, screen capture, copy, paste, put it in a file folder, because you can sue him for defamation of character. Personally,
I've screen-
go after him for every single penny, just to set an example. And if necessary, file a restraining order against him, Raji. This is something that's necessary, because you don't know if he's going to show up
True.
with his anti-LGBTQ people at their house. No one knows. I'm not saying that he will, but if you file the paperwork and follow up on it, and he's the one who started it, and he's continuing to go forward with it, you have to follow through with the legal protocols. File the paperwork with the police, file the paperwork against him, make it, I mean, Raji, do you think I'm mistaken by suggesting that? Because if they don't follow up on it, it's going to be another story, and it's not going to be finished, and it's going to happen again, but he's just going to be at Arby's or Subway or the grocery store.
Let me ask you too. Did you know him prior to this?
No,
We've never seen him a day in our life. We never even been to
saw him a day in your life. Okay.
the
Because I was wondering if like you all knew him from the neighborhood or something like that. Wow. Well, now he's one of the ones that got fired, right? Or no?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so I would hope that he's learned his lesson from this. I don't know, but I would hope so. If you all start to feel like you're in danger, like if he starts to threaten you online or on social media, I would definitely do what Joseph said. I mean, a piece of paper.
So we
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
what happened. So we are well aware of that. We called the police
Mhm.
because someone came onto social media as a
So-
name of someone else, like Lee or whatever his name
So
was.
basically, the employee that had called me and Gabriel, my brother, a bitch, I guess, since she got suspended, one of her family members, her uncle, commented on my Facebook post, and he said, "I'm gonna fucking find you, and I'm gonna beat your ass."
He
And
said,
he's like,
"Say something like that to me." When I don't know what he's talking about, what was said to anybody, but he said, "Say something like that to me, and I'll beat you up. I'll beat your ass." You know, that's 100%. Like, I'm gonna do that. And so we called the police and we told them,
again,
and they said, "Well, we can't do anything about Facebook."
yeah,
And I said, "Well, you know what? I'm a concerned citizen, and so is my fiance. And ultimately, like, you know, I don't have time to like barricade my house up and
Right.
sit outside like a militia. So can you guys possibly like send a couple cars by throughout the night?
yeah.
Because it is a real concern. I mean, we're not in a big area, and he made that post public. It's not hard to find him, and he grew up in this area. So maybe somebody who doesn't like him can say, oh, he lives over here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, it's not hard. It's not hard if they really wanted to do something like that, you know? And my thing is that, you know, we like, I don't know. I didn't do anything, but it just so happened that coincidentally, 2 days, no, was it 2 days?
2 days left.
3 days after the incident happened? 4 days? How many days was it?
It was 3 days after the incident happened.
It was 3 days after the incident. I was walking to
my brother's house.
his brother's house because his car had died.
Mhm.
And I walked down an alley and I was walking and I got jumped.
Don't know if it had anything related.
Well,
to
I
it.
wouldn't be walking down any alleys. I wouldn't be walking down any alleys anytime soon, either of you.
Yeah, I didn't want to, but I didn't have a choice. So I left him. He stayed in the car, you know, and he had his phone. I had my phone and I was walking and it was a short distance, you know, and
Very
it's
short.
very lit. And I was walking and it wasn't an alley per se, like a New York alley. You know, the alleys here are more like a back out, driveway to garages.
Yeah.
You know, they're still kind of lit, but either way, you know, and it was in downtown area too. So it's the main part, you know. But I didn't file
I mean,
paperwork or anything because I didn't.
yeah, I mean,
know they would-
but yeah. I mean, crime is up everywhere, though, boys. I mean, seriously, Raji, you know this just as well as I do, that there's crime is up everywhere. I mean, I consult individually for a local gas station, and they've been broken into a couple times already, and I'm helping them fix their security problems that they have at their location. And there's been a lot more activity with people having emergencies and everything else. So it might be something that's just a coincidence, but I don't think it is. I mean, based off of what's happened, if it just happened 2 or 3 days later, I think it's an odd coincidence. And I'd just be extra careful at this point. I probably wouldn't go anywhere unless both of you are together or someone else is in the car with you. I think that would be like the buddy system. Raji, what do you think?
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, you want to be cautious, very cautious at this point, especially based on the incident at KFC, and then you getting jumped the other last week or a few days ago. So yeah, I would try to take some extra precaution. And you know, it is really difficult when people are doing the social media attacks, because the police, they're like, that's social media stuff. It's like they don't take it serious. It's almost like something has to happen to you for them to take it serious. But yeah, I would definitely. Now, let's hope, I mean, that doesn't happen. Like he learned his lesson and he's going to go about his business. But I would also get connected with that center. I forgot, you said the
Phoenix.
The Phoenix, yeah.
Phoenix.
Get connected with them, because there's power in unity, and you want the community behind you with this one. You really do. So I would definitely do that. Continue to post about it. I would even put captions like, the F word is just like the N word. I mean, you know, you want to like get the message out there, and continue to post about it, and speak with some of the local activists in your area. Of course, at the same time, I know you don't want this to be like, you know, consuming to your life. I mean, you all have a life, and you want to move forward and do live gallantly and optimally and all of that. But this happened to you for a reason. And like, I'm a firm believer, when things happen to us, the quote unquote bad things, it's an opportunity. It's like a springboard for us to do, you know, some wonderful things. I was brutally beaten up some years ago because I'm trans. And that was a very pivotal moment in my life, because it was when I decided that, listen, I could sit down and like cry and complain about the way life is for trans people, or I can try and do something about it, like stand up and be proactive and try to do something about it to make things better. You know, but we're talking, this is over 20 years ago, but what I'm saying is, it's something that happened to me that was life-changing and put me on a path or a course for a lot of the things that I've done since that time. So, I mean, you two are just phenomenal young men. I know you have great futures ahead of you. I love your blonde hair. It's so cute. And both of you too, the matching blonde tops. I know, it's real cute. And I just think you're going to do some really big things. And guess what? You two, I should say, are now officially activists. You really are. Since that time, I don't know what you did before. You may have been activists before, but since that incident at KFC to now, however long it's been, all that you've done makes you an activist, because you got the message out there. You've been proactive. So this could definitely be the start of some big things for both of you in the name of LGBTQ equality and equity, because isn't that what we really want? Like true equality and equity. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Like the thing about it is that, you know, you were talking a lot about everything, and I was just sitting here thinking, and I was like, you know, that's all anybody ever wants is equality and equity, because, you know, it's just hard to think about a world where, you know, when you're gone, if you have people you leave behind, or while you're here, the people you love, that are subjected to things that are just completely intolerable and not having, equality and equity at the forefront of their mind. Just basically their own personal interests and their own personal gains. And I don't understand why people have that conduct themselves like that.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. And that's all we want to do is make sure that we make people understand that. We want to make people understand that it's just the right way to go about certain situations. Because yes, you're right. Like maturity level, as far as that situation, we did handle it very well. And we look back now and we're like, all right, check mark in that box, fist bump, kiss, hug, like high five, we're good.
Oh, that's cute.
Good, we did a good job, and but hindsight's 2020. So we were like in the moment, it was very hard, like he talked about, and we want to make sure. And what we're looking for is help to understand like how to push this forward, how to push this forward, how to get this message out, how to get this to seep into every little nook and cranny of society and reach every ear, that it needs to reach.
And I'm going to tell you, back in the day when I was like starting with because I've always been an activist from like high school. Back in the 80s, I was volunteering at the American Red Cross and the United Way and the local hospital. It's always been a part of me in my spirit. But when I really started focusing on my community, at the time it was so grassroots, and a lot of people didn't really care anything about trans issues or transsexuality. And what I did, and this is something you two may want to think about, is I linked up with some of the local organizations here in South Florida. And I started going out. There's one particular one called the Yes Institute. And you may want to reach out to them. I can have Joseph give you their information, but I started,
If you would.
I started speaking with them for a number of years, and we would go to small little venues. Maybe I'd speak in front of 20 people, 10 people, sometimes 50. But what I'm trying to say is it was like the pebble in the pond. You know how a pebble is small, but you throw it in the pond and you see the ripple effects? So you start off little, you start off small and take little steps, and you will see that it will grow. And so keep doing what you're doing. And like I said, definitely link up with your local LGBT organization. That's so important because you want to kind of start there because that's where you are. And then you can also reach out to some of the big ones. Like, for me, it would be the National Center for Trans Equality, but I don't think you'll reach out to them. So, but what I'm saying is like, some of the national LGBTQ organizations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, one thing I wanted to mention though, too, Raji, and also Joshua and Lee, is I can swap your guys' information together so you can both have a way to communicate with each other. But if you want to get in contact with Raji directly, boys, it's just Raji at mySouthernExposure.site. It's already on the website. You just go there where it says about us and you click her. It's right next to her photo. It'll go directly to her email and then she'll get an update. Or if you want to get a hold of me, it's Joseph at mySouthernExposure.site also as well. I will forward the boys' information to you, Raji, and I'll forward your information to the boys after we're done with the show, obviously, to be able to facilitate that whole communication factor go into play. But the similarities between what happened to the boys and what happened to myself and Ricky, part of the reason why I started WeGo, our transportation service, was because of us having a person in the car who was anti-gay when I used to work for a major car transportation service, Raji. That's the whole reason why I started WeGo. And he used to ride in the car with me at night because I was going into some sketchy parts of town. And I didn't feel comfortable. So I'd be like, come on, get in the car. And it was never a problem before. So the similarities between what happened to the two of you with that one incident, that we had something happen like that also as well. And then we turned it into WeGo LLC. And then we also have WeGo Cares, talking about that as well. Free food drive and the toy drive, Thanksgiving and Christmas and everything else. So you can turn this bad thing into something good, just like what Raji's done with a lot of things that have happened to her, what I've done with things that are bad that happened to me, as well as my partner. So you can turn it into something good. So I think that's basically the takeaway with this, I would think, for both of you, is to, when you have those thoughts of the bad parts of it, you acknowledge it, but don't focus on it, and just take that energy and direct it into something else that you feel a drive for. It could be books, it could be, walking dogs, it could be anything. So it's a matter of taking that energy and redirecting it into something good. But I don't know if you have any more questions, Raji, but I do want to say that the two boys are now officially entered into our contest for something that I haven't decided or figured out what yet. Once we get like 10 people, once you get 10 names, then we're going to put them in a little hat, and then we'll have someone grab in and pull one of them out. Someone's going to win something. I have no idea what, but you're going to win something. I have no idea. And then the other part too is that, GoFundMe is a really good thing to use sometimes. So you never know if a GoFundMe account might be set up, and you never know how many people all across the LGBTQ community around the world might understand the story. So it's one of those things to think about, and it's one of those things where it's like what Raji said, everything happens for a reason. You don't have to understand why it happens when it happens, and sometimes the things that happen that are the worst are the things that motivate you in a way that you never thought of before. So even like this show, I started the show because of being stuck at home. Now we're in season number 3, episode number 8. Holy crap. And now we got you beautiful boys on the show. And thank God you're in Illinois, so Raji can't attack you, because if you were closer by, the cougar would be lunging.
Where are you guys? Where are you located?
We're here in South Florida. I'm in Hollywood. Not Hollywood, California, though.
No, I know. I'm from Broward County.
Oh, you are? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Pompano Beach originally.
Oh, okay. Yes, so you know the stomping ground then.
I do. Exactly.
Yes. Wow. Well, I have to tell you, I'm going to reach out to the Yes Institute about you two. I'm going to talk with them and see if they can come up with any ideas. Maybe they can use you two to be involved in some of their conferences. I don't know if you'd be interested in that.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Joseph is going to give me your information, so I'll definitely reach out to the both of you. And I just think I think the idea of a GoFundMe is good, because let me tell you, I think every single gay people, or I should say gay person in the world can relate to being called a faggot.
Yeah.
And how it makes them feel. I mean, even me, I'm trans now. I mean, I've always been trans, but when I was younger and people were identifying me as just a gay queen, an effeminate queen, I got called faggot all the time, and it hurt. And they say sticks and stones will break my bones, names will never hurt me, but that's not true. The names
That's not
hurt.
true.
Yeah,
They do hurt.
they
and that's-
hurt. Yeah,
One
words are powerful. Mhm.
Yeah, they are. One person on there was like, your fiance did 2 tours in Afghanistan, and this is what, breaks him and hurts him. And it's like, those are totally separate things,
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's 100% bothers me. And that does make me, freeze up and not understand why this is happening, because, it's like, why? Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. Ignorance is bliss, I guess, but it's almost like the innocence. It's like, I didn't know. And Josh was sitting here telling me, we would go, when we first got together, we would go, and I would, go to grab his hand, and we'd be in Walmart, and he'd be like, I don't want to, or like he would grab away from me, and I would get upset. I'd be like, do you not want to show that you're with me, with me, not a public display of affection, but is it something with me? Do you not want to be seen with me? And he's like, no, you don't understand. Or we would kiss, and he'd be like, looking around, this is not a place to do that, and me, thinking and being, just blind to all of it, not understanding, because I've never been exposed to it directly, you know, and I thank my lucky stars for that. But what I'm saying is that I didn't understand, you know, and now I understand completely what he's saying, because I used to think that, you know, it's like, no, it's okay. You know, it's 2020, like it's 2021, or we can say whatever year, we can say whatever's going on in society or whatever is current events, you know, people always reference that, but you don't understand, like, we're in the Midwest, we're in Illinois, you know,
Right.
down in Hollywood, Florida. Okay. Like, bitch, do whatever you want, you know, like we're good. But
Yeah.
here in Illinois, there's still some people, you know, that are just a little ignorant. Let's just say that, you know.
Yeah, we've
I
come
mean,
a
point
long
blank on the
way.
video. I mean,
Yeah, we've come a long way, but we still got a long way to go. And even some parts of here in
Yeah.
South Florida, you got to think twice about doing that. It is
Yeah.
really
yeah,
it's relative to where you are, and I totally get it. I would be kind of, you know, like looking around like, oh my God, is it safe to do? Because, you know, as LGBTQ people from young, we're shamed like from young. We're like
Yeah.
we're made to feel ashamed of who we are, and like we have to hide it. And you know, and then we realize that oftentimes it becomes not safe for us to express ourselves like regular cisgendered heterosexual people do, walking down the street holding hands or kiss or giving each other a kiss. Now if gay people do it out in public, oh my God, what a disgrace. Like how, you know, they're being so like, you know, erotic and I'm trying to think of the word, salacious, and they're doing indecent exposure and all of that. I mean, but meanwhile, down the street, the straight couple's doing the same thing, and no one's really
Right.
saying anything. It's a double standard, you know. But it's the
It is.
reality. It's the reality. So what I was saying too, I just want to make sure you know where I was going with this. Every single gay person in the world can relate, I'm sure, to the F word and how it makes them feel. You all can do something with that, with your GoFundMe. You know, I feel like that's going to connect to like gay people worldwide. You know, and how you do that. And I know it's not all about money and you know, you all getting a GoFundMe, but I'm just saying, like, maybe that'll give you the money to start your own organization, you know,
Yeah.
or do your own thing, you know, or your own projects.
Yeah, that's
Right.
what we're talking about more so, you know, that's what we were saying. Like, we want to just give to people, you know,
Yeah.
we just want to give to people, you
I
know.
mean, yesterday we went through a whole bunch of all of our old clothes. I mean, Lacoste, you know, all this. And we're actually right after this show is done, we're going around and we're giving all of these to the homeless people that we, you know,
That's
just
beautiful.
That's very
And
sweet. That's very
each-
sweet. No, that's good.
you know,
Karma,
No,
I
that's-
believe in
that's good.
karma. You all are creating good karma.
We try, yeah.
You definitely are. And just to come full circle, I'm the one who suggested this GoFundMe thing, so they're not to blame for this idea. So if it works, then it's their idea. If it doesn't work, then I'm the one who came up with the idea. I'll take the blame if it doesn't go well. But if it works really well, then I don't care. But by the same token, this is actually a really good segue into Meghan and Harry's interview from last night, because this touches upon feeling like you're trapped. And we all know, all of us who are talking, how we feel like we had been trapped most of our lives. And I don't know if the two boys saw Meghan and Harry's interview last night or not, but it was quite entertaining and quite interesting. So if you have a closing remark, please go ahead and make it, so then Raji and I can give a little dish on Meghan and Harry. And then if you two little cuties want to stick around, you can watch in the background as long as you're on mute.
Yeah,
Yeah, or if you want to go about your day, I know you said you have stuff for the homeless, so
Stuff to do.
we appreciate your time, the time that you gave us. So I don't want you to feel like you're locked in. Like, you know, you can stay if you want. If you all have to go, it's fine too. But I just want to thank you both for taking the time out to be a part of our show and share your story. It's an important thing, and thank you so much. And I'll toss it to you two to leave any closing remarks or final thoughts.
Well, thank you guys very much. First
Yeah.
of all, thank you very much. Seriously, because when Joshua told me that he got a message, I'm very skeptical. A lot of people have been positive, but there are those people that, and I'm the person that looks at Josh and goes, careful who you're talking to. Do you know who that is? Do you know what you're doing? And because I'm skeptical, I'm cautious. I protect him. I protect myself, and it's something I do. And I want to thank you guys for giving us this opportunity. And
Create, don't hate.
yeah, seriously, because everybody watching, all of us included, we all have people that look up to us. We all have people that we talk to, and I just hope that we pass on the energy that we carry of positivity and equality, and making things a better place. This world already has enough fucked up shit in it. We don't need to put more into it. And as people that are positive and energetic, speaking about us too, we just want to put as much of that good we can back into the world.
You two are gonna do big things. I swear, you're already doing big things, and that isn't that what it's about. We come here to the planet to bring our own uniqueness and touch the planet with our gifts, and you two are doing that very thing, and I'm sure that it's gonna just continue to grow. And I wish the both of you much success. And I swear, I'm like, oh, I'm fine being single, but then I see you two all together and stuff, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, I think I need to go get a boyfriend now. No, I mean, you two are really cute together. So.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. A lot of people ask.
Well, I'm gonna have to do a matchmaking episode. Oh my God, that's an excellent idea. For Raji. Maybe we can do a matchmaking.
Oh,
Maybe we can do a date
God.
Raji episode.
See what you two started?
That would be really
Oh my God, that would be fabulous. That would be so fabulous. If you want to date Raji, they have to submit a tape.
Whoa.
And then I'll be like the guy from the Love Connection.
Yes, right.
I'll be like the guy from the Love Connection. I'll be like, so bachelor number 1, bachelor number 2, bachelor number 3, bachelor number 4, bachelor number 5, bachelor number 6.
They'll probably all have masks on because they'll be like, oh shit, I want to be in the bed with her, but I don't know if I want the world to know.
Oh, stop that. Well,
Yeah.
boys, thank you so much for joining the show. It truly has been our honor to have you both on. And I definitely have great feelings about both of you succeeding in life, and just make certain to focus on one good thing every single day, each of you individually, and then focus on one thing together that both of you can focus on, no matter what it is. It could be a butterfly, it could be a plant, it could be cooking French toast, it could be anything. I mean, it could be something very simple, and that's something that's really good, and it's very motivating and powerful. If you focus on something, you focus on something, whenever you feel like you're not feeling good, then focus on the good thing, and that'll definitely help you. I know that works for me as well as my partner. We focus on good things every single day. He's the cute one in the photo right behind my shoulder, the little white boy back there. He's the cute one back there. So, but that's pretty Ricky. At some point, he'll be on the show. So thank you so much for being on the show. We cannot wait to share this episode with all of our viewers. And thank you for giving us the honor for doing the very first actual interview with us on My Southern Exposure, because
Absolutely.
I think you're a friend of 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 a friend, or something like that, because your name popped up automatically. It was in my list of lists because I have like 5,000 different people that I'm connected to. So I think that was great that you were able to respond to it. So I look forward to communicating with you guys in the future. And please, I text message your information to Raji, and Raji, I text message your information to them. So now you both have each other's information to be able to communicate with each other directly, completely separate from me. I don't own the cute little boys. We can share them. Anyways, thank you for being on the show, and I hope you both have a good day, and just try to focus on the good things. So let's segue into Harry and Megan. or I should say Meghan and Harry, because it looks like there's a new queen in town from my perspective. Because first of all, the fact is that, like you said, that was like a nuclear bomb that probably went off over with the interview that we saw. And I think that it was definitely something that's good. And the similarities between Meghan Markle and Princess Diana are very creepy to me. Did you notice during that interview the similarities between the two, or was it just me? Because I mean, it seemed like it was a repeat.
Yeah, it is a little, I guess, creepy, that it's almost like history repeating itself in a way because of the way Diana was treated, and the tabloids and all of the media, the paparazzi and stuff. And then here with Meghan Markle, the same thing. It's almost like the tabloids and the media ran her out of Dodge. Like she just couldn't take it. And, and then on top of it, she said that the royal family, they weren't protecting her. And so, it's really, I tell you, it is really something. And the things she said, oh my God. I mean, it doesn't surprise me though. I mean, really, when you think about it, like, think about it, the royal family and, all that the royal family has done through the history of since they've been around. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from the good things like in recent times, but it's what I'm trying to say is that the racism accusations don't surprise me. That, and I'm sure that there were some issues of race. And I mean, Meghan, it's not like he bought some girl from the hood, some like real ethnic, African looking woman up into the to the palace. Meghan, I guess she's a woman of color, but she's so like, well, I hate this word, but I'll use it. She's so whitewashed. I mean, if you look at her, she's very, very light. I mean, very polished, articulate. I mean, but still doesn't matter. All of that doesn't matter when it comes to racism, and so it's a shame. It's a shame that, your content of character and the way you carry yourself and what the things you do to a lot of racist people, they don't care. All they care about is the fact that you're a person of color, and they hate that. They're hateful towards you because of that. The whole thing of like the royal family deciding not to give Archie protection. I know I have a cousin that lived over in England, and she was explaining to me a little more about that. Well, the taxpayers support the royal family. So they have to kind of like, it's only like the first tier royals that really get like all the benefits. And then as it like expands out, the benefits drop off, like as far as security and that and titles and all of that. But I was saying to her, title or no title, they need security, because it doesn't change the fact that Archie is the great grandson of the Queen of England. Title or no title, it doesn't change the fact that Harry is the grandson of the Queen of England, okay? It doesn't matter what titles he has, the world knows that. And so because of that, he's susceptible. I mean, and Meghan is too, because she's married to him. So, so they do need security, title or no title, they need security. So anyway, there were so many different issues that came up. And let me tell you, honey, those Brits, a lot of them are losing their minds. They're like, how dare the Queen be disrespected, And I don't think she was really that disrespectful, because she said some nice things about the Queen too. They didn't throw her under the bus. They were very, very, very cautious as to what they said.
They were. I mean, and actually, to be honest with you, the part that I think that's interesting to follow up on what you just said is that I know the taxpayers pay for quote unquote security and whatnot, but let's not forget the Queen of England is the only person on the face of the planet who owns the most real estate on the entire planet, all around the world. So, okay, Grandma,
Okay.
let me just say this. Hey, Granny. Hey, Granny,
Hey, Grandma.
take your tiara off. Take her tiara off because you take a shit the same way I do. Take her tiara off and go ahead and get a little loan on all of them, their properties, no matter where they is, and help. Don't be cutting me off. That's not right. Just because you're upset that I'm not doing what you tell me to do. I mean, I think the best thing is that when people and families disagree with each other, and then to see how the other family members react to it. It tells a lot about each person. It tells a lot about the fortitude of the person who stands their ground. It tells a lot about the person who basically tries to force the other person into doing what they want. There has to be a mutual respect. Whether you agree with the person or not, you still love the person. You don't take their money away. You don't not talk to the person. You don't punish the person like they're a little child when they have two children, well, one child of their own and a wife and everything else. They basically backed these two up into a corner and there was no way to get out. I call this basically Stockholm Syndrome. I mentioned it to you earlier and I'm going to read it to you. Stockholm Syndrome is a psychological response. It occurs when hostages or abuse victims bond with their captors or abusers. This psychological connection develops over the course of days, weeks, months, or years of captivity or abuse. Based off of the reaction and the body language that I saw, and I'm not a body language scientist, but the interview that I saw hands grabbing, I saw eyes looking at each other, like, is it okay to say this? Is it not okay to say this? Between the two of them throughout the entire interview out of fear. And then when uncomfortable questions were asked, they were pushed off to the side with no direct response. And the other thing that my partner had mentioned, and I agree with it more now than ever before. I agreed with him before, but because of the interview that we saw last night, it seems so prevalently, so clear to me now. He said in the interview that even the Queen of England cannot do things that she wants unless they advise her to. Without saying that there's someone who has more power than the Queen, that basically inferred it. It didn't say that there's one person or a group of people in charge of the entire planet. But basically, that's what it means to me. If the presidents of countries can't make their own decisions and then they get pulled back, like what we had happen with the orange-faced monster, he was trying to do too much, so they pulled him back. They pulled back the reins, got rid of him. The Queen of England, she can only do so much. They pulled her back, and then she has to give a canned response of something of positivity, because the Queen cannot talk uncouth. Gosh forbid. Goodness gracious. Tea will be served at noon. So I'm just saying, like, let's get real. So the thing is, it's clear, more clear now than ever before, that there are powers at be that allow people to do things. And when people get out of line, vis-a-vis, let's say, horrible example, but possibly true, Princess Diana. She understood it. She got it. And they got rid of her. There's no other way to look at it. They got rid of her. They couldn't control her. They couldn't stop her. They got rid of her. They created a story. She might have already been dead before she was in the car. And then they made an accident. And I mean, who knows at this point? I mean, seriously, who really knows what happened, right? Seriously. Whitney Houston. I mean, seriously, Whitney Houston. Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter crash with his daughter and a whole bunch of other people. I mean, when there's these questionable things that happen to people, it makes me really start to wonder what's going on. It really does. And it's not about, God and good and bad and that. It's about mankind, I think, for some of these things. A lot of human beings are just bad people, and they only care about money and they care about control. And then there's people like me and you who are on the flip side, and all we care about is people, and we don't care about money. And we don't want to control. I mean, we like money. Don't get that wrong. I mean, I'm just saying. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
So, I mean, the thing is, like, it makes me wonder in reference to that comment. And then Oprah shared this morning on CBS News that Harry had a conversation with her off to the side and said, as soon as you can make this comment to whoever you can. And she shared it on the news this morning. You guys can Google it yourself and watch the video yourself. It was Oprah. And she shared the fact that it was not his grandmother or grandfather who brought out the race card about the color of the child.
Mm-hmm.
So if his dad wasn't taking his phone calls for a while, but now is, and his brother and him are on a long path of recovery to be able to communicate with each other, my bets are on that it was his brother.
The brother.
That's my guess.
Yeah.
That's my guess. What do you think?
Well, I think it was the brother, William, that brought it up to Harry. But I'm sure amongst the family, there were comments amongst themselves like, God, I wonder how the baby's going to look. Because that's kind of like, I mean, I've heard that before, like within the family, like if you're a family of color, sometimes that will come out, those comments will come out like, oh, wow, like I wonder how the baby's going to look. Like if it's, say, someone that's really light and they hook up with someone dark. I mean, I think it happens a lot with people, just like you wonder how the child's going to come out. Like, and so I feel like the whole thing of race might have been in the subconscious and even in the consciousness of they're doing construction. You hear?
Barely hear. We can hear you clearly.
Good. So, so I think that it was probably brought up by a few family members, but the one that took it to Harry and actually said it to his face was probably William.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, that's my gut instinct, because based off of the uncomfortability in Harry's face,
or maybe the father, maybe Charles, because
well, he can't be saying nothing. I mean, are you kidding me?
Wow.
Charles, that's like you're living in a glass house and throwing a stone at another glass house. Dude, seriously, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, he's lucky he's not, in the same he's lucky he wasn't put in the same cell as Jeffrey Epstein, from what I understand. Wasn't it him that was connected to Jeffrey Epstein, or which one was it?
It was Andrew.
Which one is, so that's the younger one?
And no, okay, so Charles is William and Harry's father.
Okay.
Prince Andrews is Charles' brother, is another son of the Queen.
Okay, but the thing is, like, they're worried about what's going on with Meghan, but they're not talking about what happened with Andrew.
Oh, please. Oh, they're gonna investigate the bullying accusations about Meghan. Meanwhile, Prince Andrew was implicated in a sex ring. I mean, come on, and they're kind of trying to sweep that under the carpet. Although I know the palace did strip him of his royal duties, but still,
they stripped him of his royal dainties, more like it, his royal thong. They stripped that royal thong off of him, so then the next time he gets onto a jet with the orange-faced monster, that there'll be one less piece of clothing for evidence.
Yeah, right, exactly. So yeah.
Oh, geez.
Remember
So,
that?
okay, so. Thong, 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 thong. All right, so let's move on to something interesting because from what I understand, you saw a couple of very good movies this weekend.
Oh my
A
God.
private viewing,
Oh
and
my.
I saw a teal on your knee,
Oh
or a birdie.
no.
I saw a little birdie on your knee or something.
little
Was that the same? Was that the same? Was that the same time, or was that an older photo?
That was the same time. I went over to some friends. My friend Salik and his partner Dennis. They invited me over, and we had movie night. And they have Hulu and they have Prime. I don't have those, so I have Netflix. But yeah, so I wanted to see the United States versus Billie Holiday, and I wanted to see Coming to America too. So it was so good. Oh my God. So the United States versus Billie Holiday. I had no idea what this woman went through and how much of a civil rights activist she was. Um, okay, so Billie Holiday is a beautiful singer, and I really feel like they made her out to be a beautiful singer who was a freaking drug addict. Okay,
Wow,
'cause,
that's unfortunate.
not the movie, the government.
Right,
And
right.
so the movie Lee Daniels produced, Diana Ross had done it back in the 80s or 70s, Lady Sings the Blues, but it was produced by a white producer. It was kind of whitewashed. They didn't really get into the nitty gritty of it. Lee Daniels, honey, he fucking got into the nitty gritty, and it was just amazing. For those of you all who don't know, uh, Billie Holiday would sing a song called "Strange Fruit." That was a song that came out of hers, and what it was talking about is the lynching that was going on in the country at the time, especially in the South, and it was called Strange Fruit. And the reason why is, fruit hangs from a tree. Well, strange fruit were these bodies that people hanging from a tree that had been lynched. And so the song really was calling out lynching and the American government, and they wanted her to stop singing this song. And a lot of people would from all over would go to her shows just to hear that song. And it got so bad that the FBI was behind her, and they were relentless. They would be at shows waiting for her to sing it, and if she sang it, they would run up on the stage to try to arrest her. They had special agents that were Black, African American, they would send to like seduce her and kind of infiltrate her crowd, like her circle. And they knew she had a drug problem, and they were very adamant about keeping her on drugs, keeping her addicted, and keeping her on drugs. And so it was very powerful because this woman refused to stop singing that song and ended up going to jail for a year because of it. And she was ostracized by a lot of her own people, and but she knew that that song was calling out slavery and Jim Crow and lynching for what it really was. And so anyway, finally, I'm so happy. I mean, that she's the true story has finally come out, and she's getting her credits, or her due as a true civil rights activist. And it was interesting because she was on heroin, and the thing about those drugs is the first time they were saying, Andra Day, the woman, the singer and actress that played her her in the movie, I mean, she became Billie Holiday. I think she might get an Oscar for this because she won the Golden Globes last week. She won a Golden Globe for it. So I think she might get an Oscar because her performance was excellent. She was saying that people didn't realize or don't realize that the first time you do heroin is to get high. After that first time, it's about surviving and living to not go through the withdrawals that happens to heroin addicts when they stop, because your body, you get physically sick and sometimes can die from trying to stop the drug. So it's like a hamster in a hamster wheel, just like it's just so many layers to it. But I am so happy. I just have so much more love and respect for Billie Holiday now. And, we share the same birthday, April 7th. And she's from Philadelphia. I grew up in Philly. Coming to America, funny, typical Black humor, in the hood humor. I thought it was so funny. A reason why I say typical Black humor is I have a friend over in England. He's white, and he tried to watch it. And he says, I had to turn it off. I wasn't getting any of the humor. It was like, I didn't understand it. It was, so I'm like, oh my God, okay. But honey, I thought it was really well done. And it's hard to do a sequel or a part 2 to something that was such a big hit. But I think they did a great job, and the majority of the cast was there. I mean, this is 30 years later. I think only one person died. Madge Sinclair, who played the prince's mom, but Eddie Murphy's mom in part 1. I think she's the only cast, but everyone else came back. And I mean, they had Gladys Knight in it, and Salt and Pepper, and I mean, it was so good. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. And I was cracking up. And let me tell you, Leslie Jones, she freaking killed it. Oh my God. Leslie.
She's funny.
She
is funny.
Funny. And she really killed it in that movie. She really made the movie so much more funny. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw, and I wasn't planning on seeing it, but I saw it, I think last night or the night before. I think it was last night. No, the night before. I saw the new Tom and Jerry.
Oh.
And just like what you said about watching a sequel to something else,
Mm-hmm.
I like what you said also as well, is that it's hard to do better than the original. And we watch Tom and Jerry every day. We watch Scooby-Doo, Tom and Jerry. We watch all the cartoons. Like that's the first thing in the morning that's on like the TV in the living room. And then in the bedroom, I'm watching like all the news channels for like an hour, 2 hours. I watch the news channels. And then I, do the desk stuff, do the work on here. But Tom and Jerry was really super cute.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was kind of hokey, but funny, but a completely different storyline. And the graphics were kind of cool, but they're still cartoony. So it's, it wasn't like that like creepy cartoon that looks like it's people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like the real people with the cartoons and everything else. But Tom and Jerry was really good because I watched that on HBO Max.
Wow.
I think it was HBO Max. So because we got Hulu and HBO Max, and oh my gosh, we got all of them. Which one was the movies on that you saw?
The Hulu was the United States versus Billie Holiday, and Prime was the Coming to America.
Okay, so Amazon Prime is Coming to America.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think I have that already, and then we already have the Hulus.
Oh,
the Hulus. I
Oh
think
my
we
God.
have all of them. I think we have all of them.
You gotta.
I mean,
see it. You gotta. See
Okay, so Billie Holiday thingy. I'm gonna pull that up. Billie Holiday.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pull up the Billie
The
Holiday.
United States versus Billie Holiday.
Well, you told me
To
something.
America. Mhm.
You told me something in that movie which I find very disturbing. Which I don't want to end on a sad note, but or maybe it was what really happened in real life, but you told me about, well, I don't know if we want to tell people the end of the movie. Never mind, right? Let's let them watch it themselves about how she
yeah.
ends up passing.
Well, I'll just say this. The government was so relentless. They would have drugs planted on her because that's how they were trying to bring her down, by accusing her of like possession of drugs and being a drug addict. And I mean, even till the freaking end, this woman's dying on her fucking hospital bed and they were still trying to plant shit on her. Like, really? And you see the oh god, I forgot the head of the FBI at the time. He was relentless. You see him at the end getting an award for his many wonderful years of service from President Kennedy. But see, all of that shit hadn't come out yet with what he was doing with Billie Holiday. But yeah, and literally you'll see at the end. And I don't want to be I don't want to do spoiler. Or should I just spoil it?
No, don't spoil it because I think we already kind of hinted to it. So how about we talk about the COVID relief bill?
Yeah.
And then we'll get into and then we'll close with the COVID numbers and then we'll end the show because we can make these last 4 topics go by quickly because it's already 4:35. I have no idea. Those boys took up a lot of time, but they were perfect. It was so nice to hear their whole story. They took up just the right amount of time talking about everything, and I'm happy that we were able to help them with that. So the COVID relief bill is actually passed. We already knew that it was going to, based off of everything. But the part that I find disturbing, well, there's 2 good things. In addition to that COVID bill, they also passed additional voting rights that were being extended. That's separate. The separate bill passed also as well, because the Republicans wanted to try to restrict voting and make it harder in communities of ethnicity.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to make it so you couldn't vote on Saturday and Sunday. You could only vote on Saturday, or you could only vote on Sunday. Mm-hmm. They wanted to make it so you had to come up with an additional form of identification, a proof of mail. And now with this new voting right extension, or I should say increase, now you can go to register to vote on the day of voting with proper documentation and actually cast a vote that counts for any election. Okay. So that's a wonderful thing. And the Republicans are trying to minimize the impact of communities of less, I don't know how to say it properly, of communities that are less developed. Let's say it that way. I guess that's the right way. Mm-hmm. Impoverished communities, people of color, generally speaking, don't have access to voting as much, and they don't feel like their vote even counts. So it's nice that they passed that. That was a completely separate thing. The COVID relief bill is obviously a good thing. $1.9 trillion, $1,400 checks are coming out probably this week, end of this week or next week. Woo-hoo! I know I got my money already spent before I got it. But the part that really pisses me off is these 50 sons of bitches or daughters of bitches, I don't know which they are, shot down the $15 an hour. 50 Republicans and 10 Democrats shot down $15 an hour. The last time that there was a minimum wage increase was 2007. So currently, right now, the federal minimum wage is, drum roll, $7.25 an hour. So this is what I'm going to propose, and I'm going to start pushing it out. If those 60 people think that it's acceptable to live off of $7.25 an hour, that's what they should be making.
Hell yeah. Let's see how effective they can live off of that amount. Please, come on. That's such BS.
Well, I mean, seriously, it's time to actually make them walk the walk. If you're going to talk the talk, walk the fucking walk, or shut the fuck up. Seriously. So it's okay for you to make XYZ amount of money, but you're going to say $15 an hour is too much. and that $7.25 an hour is fine. So then maybe we should make your pay retroactive to 2007. You've been in your position for however many years. So then guess what? You owe money to the government. You should be getting paid. You should have been getting paid $7.25. Those 60 names that are on that list, they should have been getting paid $7.25 an hour. They are a public servant. They are a public servant. They are not a god. They are not a leader. They are a public servant. They serve the public. So if you enter in a public service office, then it should not be about money. And because you make so much money, you're going to shoot down the idea of making the dollar amount the right amount. Y'all need to look in the mirror tonight because y'all straight up fucking evil, and you need to make $7.25 an hour. And I will do everything within my power to make certain that fucking happens. What do you think?
Well, I'm totally on the same page with you. First of all, what they're acting like $15 an hour is going to disrupt the economy and the working class. I mean, like it's going to make people stop working. And no, I mean, come on. That's only $600 a week. $1,200 every. That's if you work 40 hours. That's a 40-hour week. $1,200 every 2 weeks. That's before taxes. All right, and so come on. I mean, it's 2021. The inflation keeps going up. Things keep getting more expensive. You mean to tell me that from 2007, I think you said, or 2008, to now, they haven't felt like it's important to raise the minimum wage? That's just, it's idiotic. And I bet you, if they were made to take $7 fucking an hour, oh God, I get so angry. I'm sorry. I just, the cuss words just come out.
Honey, listen, lady, listen, sweetie, because I mean, I already laid it all out on the line. I don't care who likes it or not. If you don't like it, fuck you.
Yeah,
Seriously.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you can cuss all you want. Either you'd like to listen to the show because we give it out like the real,
Yeah.
and if you don't like it, I'm just gonna say suck it. And I don't know which thing you want to suck, but suck it. Your thumb or anything else. So you can cuss all you want, honey.
Pardon my French, but yeah, anyway, what I'm saying is I'd like to see them make that amount an hour and give it a month. I bet you they'll change their tune. I bet you they'll want to vote again and show how important raising the minimum wage is. It's almost like, they don't have to live it, so they're not connected to it. And so anyway, I'm really disappointed in that not getting passed. But I'm happy about the stimulus. Just hurry up and get to the president's desk and sign. Come on, sign it, Mr. President Biden, please.
Well, you know what? One way that I think it might get some attention is if we do the $7.25 an hour challenge. Because you know how people love to do a challenge.
Yeah.
So we're going to do the $7.25 an hour challenge to all the people who voted against the $15 an hour thing.
Yeah.
And their wages are going to have to be frozen. They can't have access to their bank account, and they're going to be paid $7.25 an hour for every hour they work once a week for the next 4 months. I think that's an excellent idea.
You should do an official proposal to Congress and the Senate and send it to them.
Oh, honey, I'm going to do it. I already wrote it down. Look, it's already on here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's already on there. And then do you see that right there? What does that say?
What? I don't know. I can't. Oh.
Raji date. Date.
Oh Lord.
It's already wrote it down, so now it's already in the can. Once I write it down, I won't forget it. Sometimes if I don't write stuff down, then I'll forget it. But if I write it down, this looks like the mad scribblings of a scientist. I mean, seriously, look at that.
Yeah.
It looks like Dr. Doolittle meets, I don't know, Henry Einstein or something.
Yeah, but that's that's brilliance in the works. That's brilliance in motion.
Well, we'll see. So I want to just address the COVID numbers quickly, and then we'll finish off with something really good because we want to do that. And there's a lot of great things to talk about, the very last topic, but I do want to address the COVID numbers. The COVID numbers, the cases of testing are going down because more people are actually getting the vaccine, but the death rate is still the same or going up. Down here in South Florida, we're still at the 100 plus deaths per day. And it's been like that for, I think, probably 4 or 5 months, 100 deaths a day. So the death toll is actually increasing. The testing is going down, the vaccination is going up. And now people seem to be wanting to walk around like because they got a vaccine that they don't need to wear a mask. First of all, if you all are out there not wearing a mask and you get it, don't go to the hospital. Just stay at home. Because you're going to be a waste of resources from my perspective. You brought it on yourself. So that's the way that I look at it. Personally, you can't wear a mask. Just because you got a shot doesn't mean that you're immune, no matter who tells you that you are immune. No one knows what's going to happen. And if you had it before, you might get it again. So you might not have it or have any symptoms, and you're out there spreading it around, not wearing your mask because you got a vaccine. So that's my whole thing with the COVID thing. What do you think about the numbers and everything else? Because there's a lot of people getting in trouble about numbers. It's just a matter of time before they go after Ron Dick-Satan. They already went after the New York governor about downplaying the numbers as well, separate from the sexual allegations also. But I'm not feeling comfortable yet. I'm hoping a year from now, we'll be able to go out and be around people. I'm being extra cautious, but by the same token, I don't think I'm being extra cautious. I think I'm just maintaining being safe.
Well, okay.
I know you're out there a little bit more than me, so.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I think we're on a good momentum to getting to the end of the tunnel, but people might be letting their guards down too soon. Because I was listening to Fauci yesterday on one of the news programs, and he was saying that it was going down. Now it's plateauing again at like 60,000 new cases a day. And he says, that's no good. He's like, the fact that it was going down, that's great, but we don't want it to plateau at 60,000 cases a day. We want it to keep going down. So he says that it's almost like he feels that people are letting their guards down too soon. It's too soon for the celebration. He was like telling people, just hold on a little longer. He's like, just a little bit longer, until we can get further or closer to the end of the light at the end of the tunnel. Just a little longer. He was saying like probably a couple more months than well, he said a couple to a few more months. And then, he'd feel a lot more comfortable. But yeah, with these spring break activities and stuff, I don't know. It might start spiking again in a few weeks. So we'll see. But I am optimistic though, in the sense that I think the death rates has been going down, right? No, it's been going up. Oh Lord. Okay. Well, forget what I just said. But I think my optimism is coming from the fact that people are getting vaccinated. My mom got vaccinated and she seems to be fine right now.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God that she is. That's good. Did she get the Johnson & Johnson one, or did she get the 2-dose one?
She got the 1 dose. She's going back in 2 weeks for the 2nd dose. Yeah.
From what I understand, it's that 2nd dose that usually creates some kind of a problem for some people, that it's been like across the board. So it's just something to be aware of.
Yeah, my cousin got the 2nd one. She's in her 60s, in her late 60s. She got the 2nd one on Friday, and she said her arm was a little sore. She was a little tired Saturday, but so far she's been okay otherwise. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Mhm.
Well, I hope that it does play out well, and I trust that it will, because you are part of your mother's image. And you are a beautiful person, so I'm certain that your mother is a beautiful person as well. I hope that I can someday meet her. I think that would be lovely.
Thank you.
I don't know if she'd like me. She might say that I'm too bossy, like most
I'm
people.
keeping my fingers crossed.
I'm bossy, so she might be like, oh, I don't like him. She'll probably be like, no, I don't like him, Raji. Why do you like him? All right, so let's end the show with something very uplifting.
Mhm.
March is Women's Month,
It is.
celebration of women.
It is.
So it's going to be one of those interesting things about how they adjust it to being totally inclusive with LGBTQ moving forward. But the very first Academy Award went in 1930 to Frances Marion, first woman to win an Academy Award for Best Adapted Screenplay for The Big House. I have many more first women's out there. I'm going to just read a couple of them. So that's for arts and entertainment. Give me a topic. Which topic do you want me to look up? Because I got them all right here on my phone.
What do you mean for the first?
Do you want me to give you some suggestions? So that was arts and entertainment, the very first woman to win an Academy Award. So let's backtrack to the next one. So we got aviation and aerospace,
Mhm.
dentistry, education.
Oh, got it. I see.
Which one do you want next? Let's go to aviation, which I think that everyone already knows for aviation, right?
Yeah, that was.
This-
Wasn't that Emily?
Amelia Earhart.
Yeah, Earhart. Yeah.
Side note, I'm going to say it because my partner already knows about it. I used to know Amelia Earhart's grandson
You did?
intimately.
Oh.
Oh, he was such a beautiful man. He
Wow.
was such a beautiful man. Oh my goodness gracious. I'm all a quiver. Okay, so dentistry. I'm all a quiver. I'm just being silly, but that's a true story. Let's see. So there are a lot of firsts. There's too many to go over. Which is your favorite first in your lifetime for women who did something? I got like 6 in my head. So during your lifetime, which is the firsts that
Well,
are like, give me like the top 2 or 3.
Well, I would say the astronaut program, the first woman to go to space, and that was a big deal because that happened, if I'm not mistaken, in the 80s. So it wasn't that long ago, but yeah, that one. God, there's
No, that was actually. Oh, no, you're right. Go ahead. Sorry. I apologize. Go ahead.
right, and was it? Yeah. It was in the 80s, right?
I'm trying to find it. I'm having a little problem with my phone right now. It's not working properly.
Oh,
Even though it's one of the fancy ones, it's not working properly. So I apologize.
I'm pretty sure it was around that time. Let me think here. Oh God, it's so funny because like off the top of my head, it's so hard.
Well, I can give you 2
Uh-huh.
of my favorite firsts in my lifetime.
Mhm.
Hillary Clinton, the very first presidential candidate that was a female.
Oh, and of course we're gonna say together.
I'll let you take the second one.
Harris. Kamala Harris. Oh my God, you're the first vice president of the United States. Yeah, first woman of color.
And then another first, I have to confirm it, but RGB,
Yes.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She was the very first female Supreme Court
Yeah.
justice.
I think so. Yeah. Oh, God rest her soul. Yeah.
God rest her soul is right. Oh my goodness gracious. There's so many of them. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, there's actually 100 female firsts.
Wasn't it that,
So,
is Janet Reno on the list?
well, let's see. First Congresswoman, Jeanette Rankin in 1916.
Okay, wow.
This goes back to the 1700s, believe it or not.
Wow, what's the
My
one,
list.
what do they have from the 1700s? I'm just curious.
Okay, the very first, this is the women, 100 first of women. Mrs. Samuel Slater was the very first woman to get a patent in 1793.
Wow.
And she got a patent for a type of cotton thread. I guess that's appropriate because men don't know how to sew. I mean, generally speaking.
That's amazing.
1849,
Mhm.
Elizabeth Blackwell, MD. After
Oh,
graduating first in her class at Geneva Medical College in New York, British-born Elizabeth Blackwell becomes the first woman doctor in the United States in 1849.
1839.
1849. We're just going to go through some of these because I think it's kind of fun to look at the ones that are the old ones, to be honest with you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then in 1872, a candidate for history books. Although American women are unable to vote, activists, just like you, Victoria Woodhull, a champion of such diverse causes as women's suffrage and free love, becomes the first woman to run for president of the United States.
Wow. Oh, that was in what, 18 what?
1872.
Wow, that's amazing. That's
She
amazing.
didn't win any electoral votes, but technically she was the first one.
That's amazing.
1903, the year we were born. A female Nobelist, Polish-born French physicist Marie Curie becomes the first woman to win a Nobel Prize,
Right.
receiving the award in physics with her husband, Pierre Curie, and Henry something. It's a really strange name. I think it's French or something. In 1911, she is the sole winner of the Nobel Prize for chemistry in 1903.
Wow.
So no one's won the Nobel Prize for chemistry except a female back in 1903. Okay, so let's flash forward to like our time period. Where do you want me to start? Do you want to go to the 60s or 70s?
Do the the 60s.
Late 60s? Okay, let's see. Mid 60s.
Mhm.
1963, hey sky, take off your hat, I'm on my way. That was a quotation. Russian cosmonaut Valentina Tereskova becomes the first woman in space, orbiting the Earth 48 times in 71 hours on board the spacecraft Vostok 6. She is also the first and only woman to undertake a solo mission in space. The Russian girl beat us up there.
The Russian girl, yeah. I think it was the 80s when an American woman did it.
Yeah, breaking the glass ceiling, 1972, almost a year I was born. American newspaper executive Katharine Graham becomes the first female CEO of a Fortune 500 company, the Washington Post.
Mm.
Okay, let's flash forward to the 90s because, let's say 2000. 2000, Beverly McClacken for Justice. Beverly McClacken becomes Canada's first woman Supreme Court Chief Justice. Some 70 years earlier, the same court had ruled that women were not persons. It doesn't say anything about RGB, so maybe I'm mistaken. Let's go forward to more current time. Let's go to 2016. Okay, that's the most recent one. This movement is for every little girl who dreams big. American politician, Hillary Clinton, receives the Democratic presidential nomination, the first woman to top the ticket of a major party in the United States, though she ultimately loses the general election. Well, at least I got part of it right. So, but there was a lot of really good women's firsts.
Oh my God.
That's for sure.
Fabulous. Yeah. Fabulous.
It's definitely a good thing. So I suggest that everyone at home watches out for all the women's first this entire month of March. And don't forget to visit our website, www.mysouthernexposure.site. Email me, Joseph, at mysouthernexposure.site, or the best co-host in the world, Raji, at mysouthernexposure.site. If you want to work for us, you are more than welcome to. In all 50 continental United States locations, no matter where you live, as well as 2 territories. Work at mysouthernexposure.site. All you got to do is just type in social media, gay, space, the name of the state, enter in the search button, and you can pull up one of those pages. All 50 of the United States are in there, as well as 2 of the territories, and you will find content of us, this beautiful headshot, as well as this beautiful bust. I mean, this beautiful babe down here. So don't forget to reach out to us. And thank you so much for joining us. If you're interested and you like our content, make certain to like, subscribe, share, and repeat as much as necessary. I want to say thank you very much for watching the show. Make certain to join us next week. We only have 4 more shows to the end of this season. And then you're going to have to wait 2 weeks because we get a 2-week hiatus. So
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it to Raji to say good night.
Well, on that note, I want to thank you all again for joining us. We had a really, really great show. I was so enthralled with our guests that we had today. Yeah, I'm so glad they took the time out to share with us. And so I want to wish everyone a fabulous week. Find something that you can stand for, because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. I don't know who I'm quoting, but anyway. And I want to wish everyone love, happiness, peace, good health, prosperity, and many wonderful blessings. Bye. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.